Hi, welcome back. In this episode, we're just going to take the bowl off the carburetor and remove the needle and seat and put a new needle and seat in, as well as changing that plastic cover on the side of the carburetor. That's for your enriching circuit. I did this in another video where we removed the fuel pump. It should be the episode previous to this, episode 74. But I just wanted to add just a video of this, just because it's some people might not want to see all the other stuff. They might just want to see how to open up their carburetor and get to the float and that kind of thing. So I'm going to insert that video in here. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click the notification button. The more subscribers I have, the better it is. So please subscribe, it helps me out a big time. I'm around 525 subscribers right now. I'm hoping by the new year I'll be up around 550, 600, so let's try to keep climbing. Alright, so we're over at the workbench now. So we got to take the bowl off to get to the needle and seat. So it's 4 screws on the bottom. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 holding the bowl on, and then on the carb heater right here, we got to just loosen that off just a hair because the bracket's going to hit the bottom of the bowl. So to take the bowl off, we got to take out the screws on the bowl. So here's 1, 2, 3. You can see that, and then the 4th one's there, and then the carb heater, the bracket, it is just slightly in the way, so you just gotta pull this off. So you pull that off, and then you can get your 10 mil wrench onto it, like so. Break it free, and then you're able to trim that bracket out of the way enough so you can get the bowl off. You always be careful when you're taking stuff apart, especially with this. You know, there's always small parts in that inside carburetor, so you want to make sure you don't drop anything. You have a clean area, otherwise it could take you forever to find the pieces that you dropped. Alright, so that's the bowl. Looks pretty clean on the inside actually. That looks pretty good. You have a little gasket on here, but we're pretty happy with it. This is your accelerator pump. If you push down on that, gas is going to squirt out of there. So make sure that your O-ring's there and it looks okay. And also if you hit it, make sure you have glasses on in case it gets in your eye. You don't want that to happen. Alright. Now, this is our float right here. So right now the carburetor is upside down, so when you have no fuel in it, it'd be sitting like that, opening up your needle and seat, and as it fills with fuel, it'll float up and then close off your needle and seat. So we're going to take this screw out now. So we get that screw out, and then the float will come out. But with the float, there's also this pivot shaft that it rides on. So that's what works up and down. And then our needle and seat, or our needles on the bottom of that too. So just keep an eye on that. Alright. So looking at it now, right here is the seat. So we're going to have to take that screw out so we can pull the seat out.
And like right here is our fuel line coming in. So the fuel comes in, gets to this needle and seat. If the bowl is low or empty, the needle and seat will be open and it will allow fuel to flow in. And then as it fills up, it closes, blocking the flow of fuel so it doesn't flood the carburetor. So we're going to take that out now. Got that screw out. Can't quite get it with your fingers, so I'm just going to use a pair of pliers real gently. Little twist action. And there it is. That's the seat, and this is the part that we got to change. We're going to change this and the needle. You should always change both at the same time together. You should never do one or the other. Always replace both at the same time. So the new one that we have is bigger. The part number I got for it is 2C6-14190-30. I believe this is for a Yamaha Grizzly 4-wheeler or whatever. I believe the dealer said that that's what it's out of. So when it gets shipped, there's this rubber on here. I've already had this off once, but it took me a few minutes to get the rubber off. It was kind of a pain. And there's our new needle and seat. So this is the old one. This is the new one. I'm side by side down here. So just looking at it, you can see that the old one is round all the way, and then the new one, at least one that I got, is not perfectly round. I'm not sure you can see that there's two flat sides on it. And then when you look at it upside down, they're the same, so they'll fit. It's round, the O-rings are the same, the height of them are both the same. That's important to check. So they're identical, other than the casing above the O-ring is a slightly different shape, and the actual needle size is a different shape, or a different size. So looking through it, you can see the one more to the left, closer to the palm of my hand. The hole is significantly bigger than the one further away from the palm of my hand. So this one here is a 2mm opening, and then this one here is a 3mm opening to allow more fuel into the carburetor for wide open throttle, so we're not starving for fuel. And then looking into it, this is where it goes in. You just want to give everything a good check, make sure everything's clean. Alright, so everything looks good, so we're going to put the new seat in. So when we put it in, the O-ring part, that's the end that goes down. And then we want to make sure that where the screw is, that's where this portion is, so we can lock it down in place. Otherwise, there's that option that it could start to spin out and actually fall out, and then it will just free flow fuel and it'll be really bad. So we're just going to slip it in nice and gently. And it should be just slightly snug when you do it. So now that's sitting nice. And then we can put our screw back in. Perfect. So you want to make sure that it's snug, but you don't want to over tighten it and snap it or strip the threads. That'd be really bad. As you can see, there's the needle and the seat, and then there's our screw in. And you can see those two flat sections are on either side of the screw, so we have good contact surface with that little lip. And these are the two needles. They're both the same length. They look pretty much identical. I know it's hard to see. This one has a yellow tinge to it. That's the old one. It's probably just from the fuel. So you're gonna take your needle and you're gonna slip it around this portion so it's dangling down. So it's just like that. You can kind of see it dangling there. So this is actually up, but the carburetor is upside down. So right now it's down, but this is actually the top of the carburetor here and the bowl sitting right here. And now we can slip this in, just like so. And then we can take our screw and we can put it back in to lock that shaft in place. Alright. So that's what you should have now. So that shaft, it goes across, and then the screw right there, it locks it in. And then you can see the little portion of the needle and seat, or the needle right there. And this is going to just move like this. And I'm putting the old needle seat back into there so it's protected. So if I ever need it for something, it's good and I got it. And now our next step is to put our bowl back on. So we're just going to inspect our gaskets, make sure they look okay. They look good. It looks clean on the inside, no debris or anything like that, so we're pretty happy. And then you just got to make sure that the accelerator pump goes on the proper side. So this should only fit, the bowl only fit one way. So even just looking at the way it's notched out, you can look at the float and you should be able to figure out how it goes back together. So it should just slip down nice. If you have to force anything or it doesn't slip into place nice, there's something holding it up. So stop and double check. And now we can put all our screws back in. I always like to get them all started before I start to snug them up. Alright, and now we can re-snug up the carb heater. We're going to check the float level. So we may be getting back into this if the float is off a bit. But we're going to be optimistic and hope that it's good. And then one other thing I'm going to do while I have the carburetor off, I'm going to replace this piece here. So as you can see, it's pretty cracked and doesn't look the greatest. Oh, it's all kind of cracking all in here. So I got a new one. There it is there. The part number on it was 3LD149580000. And it was a pricey little part. It was $36. So it's not the cheapest thing. But we're going to change it. So all this does is for coasting and cruising or whatever, it just helps to keep the fuel mixture proper. So it's just two Phillips screws, and there is a spring in here, so keep that in mind. So if you just keep your thumb on it, you should be able to take those screws right out. And then just lift it up slowly. There's the spring. And it does look like that crack has migrated all the way into the cover. So looking at it, you can kind of see, it's probably really hard to see on the camera, but you can kind of see all along this portion that is showing signs of a crack. So it may or may not have been sucking air through there. So then you want to look in here. You want to check this diaphragm gasket, make sure it's in good shape. Make sure there's no dirt or debris or anything on the seal. And then these are the screw holes right there. But then this is a little chamber that will allow gas to pass through. So everything looks okay in there, so we're going to throw the new one on. Yeah, this cover is called the Coasting and Enriching cover. So as you're coasting, it's working off of some vacuum to add more fuel if it needs it. So it's going to be too hard to see on the camera. You got a little hole here, and it's just a little tiny pinhole on the other side. The spring is held in place by that. But it's good, there's no cracks or anything, so it'll be in good shape. And I am going to keep the other cover. I'll probably never use it again, but in a real pinch, it might get me out of a bind. And this carburetor has a little over 185,000 kilometers on it, so it's getting up there in mileage. And this is the first time it's ever been apart. So now reverse order, we're going to put that spring on. Make sure that we line up on that groove. And then we're going to hold it down to get our screws started. There's one screw. And then there's the other screw started. So once they're started, you can let go and it's not going to go flying. But this is a common part to crack on the carburetor, and it could give you some issues. So if yours looks really bad, it's not a bad idea to change it. But as far as I know, my bike was running fine. I wasn't having any issues with it. You don't want to over tighten and crack it either because they're so pricey. Let's probably get there. Alright. So if the fuel level's off, then we're going to have to reopen the carburetor up on the bottom and just make some adjustments to the float. And it's just kind of trial and error at that point. But we're going to cross our fingers and hope that the level's good. Otherwise, that tab on the that tab where the needle is sitting, so this was the tab and this is the needle here, you just got to bend it up or down depending, so it either opens sooner or later. I have it set up in the vise. And then I have a line coming from the drain. It's kind of hard to see. That's the drain plug is a number 5 Allen key. And then that line comes over to the front, and then we can see our fuel level. And then I had another line on the fuel, and I've been holding it up like that, filling it up. But this is the gist of it. I'm going to, when I get this on the bike, I'm going to redo it again because I have it on the stand. Everything should be sitting good and exactly how it is, and I'm going to triple check it before I get absolutely everything hooked up and see how it goes. And when we're doing it, we're going off of the flange line on the bowl. So it's actually looking fairly close. For the 04s and up, the level should be 0.4 to 0.5 millimeter above the float chamber mating surface, and that's 0.16 to 0.2 of an inch. The 03s and older, they're they were a different level, so it's recommended, all the reading I've done online for the older models, to raise it up a little bit. So keep that in mind. If it's a 04 and up, the level's already set a little bit higher than what it is on the older models, and you're probably okay. But if your float level is too low, you'll run lean. And if your float level is too high, you'll run really rich. So keep that in mind. If your bike's running differently or acting funny, that could be part of your issue.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification button. Have a great day.